Chapter 1. Granddad Michael comes to visit his grandchildren, where the fun and adventures begin. In Los Angeles, in the heart of America, Peter had got himself a new promotion of the worldwide roller coaster company. He emigrated there from England with his wife, Rihanna, and 2 children, Michaela and Mark, after he got his promotion. This was the year of 2033, and his children were twins, aged 12 years old. His mum, Tina, is coming over to visit him with her husband, Michael. Michael will be visiting his 3 children as they are American. Peter married an American girl, and his mum, Tina, married an American too. It was late summer, and the holidays were almost over. Peter comes home, kisses Rihanna, and with a big smile says, "I love you, babe. I have good news for you." Rihanna says, "Oh, babe, and I got good news for you too." Michaela and Mark come over running to their daddy, shouting, "Daddy, Daddy, how lovely to see you. We've been looking forward all day to see you." Peter sits his wife and children down, telling them that he's been promoted to be the boss of the roller coaster inventing company, and that he's got free tickets to go to SeaWorld, Walt Disney World, and all the theme parks. The twins are excited, and his wife, Rihanna, kisses him saying, "I'm proud of you, babe." Peter encouraged his children to learn all they could, and explains how he was brought up in a single-parent home, and although his mum did all she could for him. It was very hard until Tina met the love of her life when Peter was 20 years old, and by that time, Peter was old enough to make his own life. Michael came from America, and he is a wonderful man and loving husband to Tina. So much better than her ex-husband, Michael was. But Peter's point was that he didn't want his children to waste their talent, even though Peter's life was a struggle. He got far in life. Peter always thanked his grandparents for helping his mum, although they are still alive. They are by now very elderly. Rihanna sat Peter and the children down and told them her good news is that she was pregnant again and expecting a little boy, Peter, and the 2 children were thrilled. Oh, they had a fantastic family night that night. Peter took them all for dinner out and the movies to celebrate his good news. But more importantly, Rihanna's news in expecting a baby. The next day was a lovely warm summer day. Peter took his children to a water park for fun, while he treated Rihanna to a beauty health spa. Suddenly, he got a call from his mum, Tina, saying that Michael and her are in America. Peter told her to stay with them as the kids would love to see her and come over to the water park. So Tina and Michael went to the water park, where Peter and the children were. The children were delighted. Grandmother and Michael screamed, and they put their arms all around them. It was so lovely. Mark was an inquisitive child. After greeting them, he wandered off into the next field and saw something strange. He saw some very tall and muscled men dressed in uniform and big boots, carrying some very strange stuff into their airplanes. His eyes opened wide as he saw the men carrying riffles onto the plane. He ran back, crying and afraid. Peter asked him, "What's wrong, son?" Marl replied, "Men with big riffles on the plane." Peter replied, "Stay away, son." To be continued, Chapter 2. Happily, the children and Granddad play in the fields and look for the end of the rainbow. After the water park, the children are tired, and they go to pick their mum, Rihanna, up from the beauty salon. The children put their heads out of the window, seeing all beautiful shapes in the clouds. A child's imagination is the most powerful, which speaks more than 1 billion words. Michaela sees sweet birds and butterflies, but Mark sees in the clouds airplanes. But then he sees guns of war, and he's afraid. He then reaches over to Peter, and poor Peter nearly crashes into the water next to the road that he manages to swerve out of the way quickly. They come home, and across they can see the big open field. After the family meal, Peter and Rihanna catch up with Michael and Tina. Rihanna explains she is worried about Mark and asks what happened. Peter explains about the soldiers that Mark saw. The step-granddad asked Michael if he could try and talk with Mark. Rihanna said, "Please, go ahead and try." Michael sat Mark on his lap, hugging him, said, "Please tell Granddad all about it." Mark explained all he saw. Michael explained how he used to be a singer and perform concerts in front of a big crowd. To get him through, he would have happy thoughts. So, whenever he was afraid, just think happy thoughts of magic, fantasy, music, poetry, and love. And he promised him that he'd be strong and overcome anything, or think of mystical creatures that you never thought of before. Peter Pan, who comes from a magical land and never grows up. Michael firmly believed in encouraging a child to have happy dreams and see the magic in everything. After talking to Michael, Mark felt so much better. Michael then took Michael and Makala out to the fields to play with them, to create fantasy stories of castle in the skies of unicorns and of fairies, angels, wizards, leprechaun, princes and princesses, and how love is the most magical and beautiful thing that keeps everything alive. He talked about wonder and God's creation, and they laughed, giggled together, and even played out fantasy stories. They chased each other down the hill and rolled together down the hills, and the children loved Michael very much. Michael had an exceptionally magical way with children. He loved them, and they loved him. The tired kids were refreshed after being with Michael. But their happiness was cut short when suddenly the heavens opened and the rain pouring down from out of the sky. Michael took his step-grandchildren to hide under an abandoned shed they came across, and could run into the house as the house was quite a while away. It rained for a long time. Then the rain stopped, but Michael encouraged the children to come back home, as it was getting late. It was 9 p.m., and it may soon pour again. Then a rainbow appeared from out of the sky. Michael explained about the pot of gold, and this impressed Makala so much that when Michael and Mark ran on, they didn't notice Makala staying behind to go and look for the end of the rainbow. She was then taken by surprise as a leprechaun, and some fairies appeared to her. She was surprised, but delighted at the same time. It was as if they were pointing her to something, and all she could hear was them repeatedly saying, "Tigerfly has come. Tigerfly has come." She then heard a giant flap, like wings flapping. Suddenly, she saw an intense infrared light, but then it all stopped. Meanwhile, Peter had a go at his stepdad for leaving Makala behind. Tina told her son, Peter, to calm down, as being mad won't help. Rihanna agreed. Mark told his dad, Peter, not to be angry at his step-granddad, as he tells him great fantasies and thinks he's cool. Peter agreed, and it started to rain again, while the whole family goes looking for Makala. They find her on the riverbank while a cuddly white bear has been keeping her warm and safe. The next thing Makala knew was that she was in her daddy Peter's arms, being carried back home. To be continued. Chapter 3. Makala's imagination takes her on her creative side, drawing her mysterious creature 2 weeks later. After the holidays were over, Makala and Mark were getting ready for school. Although Peter had taken his family all over the various theme parks as promised, Makala did nothing else when they got home but draw butterflies with tiger bodies. What's more, she kept having reoccurring dreams of these mystical creatures that only she seemed to understand. It was 7:30 a.m. The family was having breakfast ready for school and work. Michaela was drawing pictures of the tigerfly she saw in her dream. Mark scolded her, saying, "You live in fantasy land, sister. You keep talking about tigerflies, leprechauns, and unicorns, and the pot of gold is at the end of the rainbow, grow up, sister." Peter rebuked Mark, saying, "That's enough, Mark," Mark replied. "It's true, though she's living in a fantasy dream." Rihanna walked over to Makala and gently said, "These are beautiful drawings, but you must realize you suffered a nasty fall, and your mind is probably just playing tricks on you. You believe what you want to be real." Mark raised his eyebrows. He was fed up with it all. Peter gently said to Makala, "How about if you see a professional person like a counselor to talk to them?" Makala got away from the table and cried and shouted, "I know you all don't believe me, but I did talk to a leprechaun, and I did see tigerfly. I know I did." Michael was there, and she ran into his arms, pleading, "I want my grandparents to take me school. At least Michael believes me." Michael gently said, "What about your dad?" Peter replied, "It's okay. Makala can go to school with you." So Peter took Mark to school while Michael and Tina took Makala to school. When they arrived, a lot of children were playing outside, waiting for the school bell. Michael introduced Mark and Makala to his daughter's children. They were boys. One was one of the oldest in the class, and the other was the youngest, about 11 months apart in age, and would be in their class. Their names were Joseph and Prince. They also had a little sister in a class below them, who was only 9, and her names were Princess Josephine. The boys went off to play, and the 2 girls were left behind. They all seemed to hit it off straight away. Makala showed her. Step-Granddad the picture of the tigerfly again, saying, "Granddad, I know they don't believe me, but I know what I saw." Michael gently replied. "I believe you, sweetheart," she replied. "Really?" Michael replied, "Yes. The universe is filled up with magic. It's in the air, and it's everywhere." Makala smiled. Then little Josephine said, "I, too, believe you." She smiled again, and they went into the class. Meanwhile, Michael was taking Tina out for dinner. Michael told Tina everything that Makala said, and that he told her he believed her. Tina said, "Are you crazy, babe? My son has been so worried about all the fantasy Makala's been having, and you are feeding her more there." Michael got a bit annoyed and asked, "Well, let me ask you this. Who are any of you to judge what love has created in the universe and what love hasn't?" Tina replied, "Let's just forget about it. I love you with all my heart, but you too live in a world of your own sometimes." Michael replied, "Well, yes, I love Peter Pan and all that love has created." Meanwhile, at school, their teacher asks the children what they did for their summer holidays. She says, "Now let me see. Oh yes, I will pick Makala to come to the front and tell us all about her holidays." Makala came forward, and she started drawing unicorns, butterflies with tiger bodies, and leprechauns all over the silver board. She just talked about the voices saying, "tigerflies," and the dreams she had about them, and the pot of gold, and all she experienced. The other kids just laughed and ridiculed her. Her brothers and step-cousins look worried about her. The teacher shouted, "Settle down. It's enough now, class." But the taunts just got louder and louder, until suddenly a great noise came from outside the class windows. Planes chasing each over. The classroom vibrated, and the school bell rang. The teacher quickly informed the class, saying, "You must go home early. Something's come up, and we want to keep you children safe." So, with that, the whole class rushes out. Michael's grandchildren go home with Peter's children and run homewards. On the way back from school, bullies surround Makala. Peter and the other children. Mark says, "Back off, my sister," or, You going to be sorry. But they were no match for the bullies. They run as fast as they can away from them. But the bullies soon catch up again. Tigerfly, tigerfly. They haunt Michaela. Mark replies, "Shut up and leave my sister alone." One of the bullies grabs Mark. But just in time, Michael is around. When the bullies see an adult, they scamper, and Michael walks home with the kids. At home, Rihanna is crying her eyes out. Peter arrives home from work and asks his wife, "What is it, sweetheart?" Suddenly, all eyes and ears are turned to the TV, and never thought it would come to this, as this was the beginning of World War III, to be continued. Chapter 4. All the children met new mysterious creature friends in the woods. Peter puts his arms around Rihanna, holding her close, saying, "But the airplanes will not come over here. They are bombing in the town area. We are safe here in the countryside," Rihanna cried. "But Peter, look at how many lives will be affected. And it may come to us eventually, too," Peter said. "Try not to worry about it, for now, sweetheart," she cried, even more saying, "What if they send you to war?" But Peter replied, "Let's not think about it. For now, I have a good job, and all is well." Tina, too, started crying. "What if they, too, send you to war, to Michael? Then both my husband and son will be at war." Michael holds Tina close, saying, "It's okay, sweetheart. I love you and not going to leave you. I think I'm too old now anyway," Tina replied. "What about Peter?" Michael held her close and said, "Everything will be okay." When Tina and Rihanna had calmed down, the children were getting bored, and they didn't understand about the war. They were more interested in playing in the woods. Michael, even in his older age, still enjoyed playing and being with the children. Tina, Rihanna, and Peter stayed at home, while Michael took all the children to play in the fields. They enjoyed making swings and swinging on them, swimming in the clear, deep river that had smooth pebbles. The water was warm and inviting, too. They loved rolling down the hills and making flower chains with the wildflowers. Michael and his grandchildren, Joseph, Prince, Princess, Michaela, and Mark, went walking. There's magic all in the air, and they sing joyfully. Suddenly, Princess sees a unicorn. "Look," and she says. Michaela replies, "Oh yes, isn't she so beautiful, let's get closer." But the unicorn quickly flies off before the others see. Mark overheard and said, "Right, that's it. I've had enough of all this mystical creature's nonsense, get real." Michael replied, "But Mark, that's a bit unkind the way. You speak to your sister and cousin." Mark replied, "But please, tell them it's not real. You're an adult." Michael gently asked, "Why should I tell them that?" Mark replied, "Because it's not true." Michael replied, "But how do you know? The little girls would not lie." "I never knew these girls to lie. They are purely honest, just like their grandmother, Tina." Mark ran off, "And I don't understand any of you. Have you all gone off your mind?" "Wait," Michael replied. Prince and Joseph went with Mark, and then they came across a bridge. The girls and Michael had lost them at this point. To the girls and Michael, some beautiful creatures had appeared to them, and they saw some fairies and baby girl angels, unicorns, friendly fluffy bunnies and bluebirds that sat on their hands and sang to them. Meanwhile, Mark, Joseph, and Prince were saying mockingly, "Girls, they have weird imaginations." Mark asked, "Why does Granddad, Michael, believe them?" They replied, "We don't know, he's always been obsessed with mystical creatures and figures. He reads Peter Pan. It's so silly for someone of his age." Suddenly, they heard a voice coming from under the bridge asking, "Who are you? And what are you doing, crossing my bridge?" Joseph replies, "Who are you? And where are you hiding?" The voice replies, "I'm a troll, and I don't appreciate you crossing my bridge without asking me. Mark replies, You're no troll, they don't exist. Prince says, Who says it's your bridge, anyway? To the boys' surprise, the troll comes out, saying, I see you boys have no manners, as well as being unbelieving. All three boys fainted in unbelief when they came around, and the troll was looking over them. Mark says, No, this can't be true. Trolls don't exist. The troll replies, Well, that's a bit rude. How would you like it if I said you don't exist? No, says Joseph and Prince together, we must be dreaming. This can't be true. The troll pinches the three boys, and they say, Ouch! Why did you do that? Then the troll gives out the loudest bellowing laugh, saying, You think you were dreaming, but I had to pinch you to let you know you are not dreaming. So mythical creatures do exist, then? Asks Mark. The troll replies, Of course we do, child, just like you do. Mark replies, I teased my sister, but she's always right. Then also Prince and Joseph admitted to teasing their sister, too. The troll replied, Well, that's not very nice not to believe your sister. The universe is full of magic beyond your wildest dream, and is filled up with many creatures beyond your wildest dream. He said, Come with me. Let me give you something to eat. You boys must be hungry. Yes, we are, they replied. The troll said, On one condition, you must believe in your heart, in the magic of the universe. Mark replied, We don't have much choice now, do we? The troll smiled, ruffled the water, drew the fish out of the water, and burnt them ready to eat on the spot using his magic. The boys looked on astonished. He went over and cut down some wheat and made bread from it on the spot. He grabbed down some fruit and laid out a cloth on the ground. A couple of leprechauns came and joined. Suddenly, Michael, Makala, and Princess returned. The troll asked, Would you care to join us? While smiling, they said, Yes, please. Mark hugging Makala, and Michael said, Sorry for teasing you before, but now I have to believe. Also Prince and Joseph apologized to Princess, but she hugged her brothers and smiled. They all enjoy their picnic, and then the troll suddenly jumps under the water again. The other leprechauns disappear into nowhere, which leaves them with one of the leprechauns. The leprechaun explains there's a creature that he wants to introduce to them. Suddenly, they come across a bright red light, as they never saw before. There's a compelling feeling of love, and it's so wonderful. It's a pure magical feeling. Suddenly they see some lovely wings. They are like the wings of butterflies. Within those wings are all the colors of the world. But also, there are colors that we humans have never even imagined. Colors that have been unknown to the human race, and those colors shined and sparkled like jewels. Wow, little Princess and Makala said they are beautiful. Leprechaun explained, Yes, there are only 5 of their kind in the universe, and they live forever. They go from world to try to bring about love, harmony, and unity to all peoples of every tribe, race, religion, and color. They come when they are needed. Oh, said Makala, and goes closer to have a look. Mark says, Get back, and it may look pretty but dangerous. Michael says, Oh, she's okay, and suddenly, the tigerfly turned around, and it had a tiger's body. Makala screamed, It's a tiger! Mark got a stick and said, Get away, from my sister, and the other boys backed him up. To be continued, Chapter 5. Tigerfly takes the children together with the unicorns on a spectacular journey to the edge of space. I love you, Michael, forever, with all my heart. Tigerfly started crying. All he ever wanted to do is bring love. Michael says, Children, put down your sticks, and he's not going to hurt you. Leprechaun went over to Tigerfly to strike him and said to the kids, Don't be afraid. Come and meet Tigerfly. He's as soft as a brush. Putting down their sticks, they slowly approach and started striking Tigerfly. They smile as Macalla says, "Look, Mark, he's friendly." Tigerfly then started making noises like a dolphin. Macalla asked, "Why does he sound like a dolphin?" The leprechaun says, "Tigerfly, he's trying to communicate with you, but he can't speak like a human as he's only managed to speak dolphin language so far, like the next higher intelligent being on your Earth after humans. When he stays here longer, he will be able to learn. But what he's saying is that he thinks you're a beautiful group of children." Macalla says, "Tell him I think he's beautiful too." At that, Tigerfly gave Macalla a big friendly lick. Princess asked the leprechaun, "How many animal languages can you speak?" Leprechaun said, "I can speak all animal languages and human languages of the world." "Wow," said all the kids together. Tigerfly shone an infrared light again. "Wow, so beautiful," says Macalla. "Would you like a ride into space?" the leprechaun asked. "Cool, yes please," said Prince, and so they all got excited. In turns they said, "I want to ride, Tigerfly." "No, let me." But Leprechaun said, "We will all ride our unicorn, because Tigerfly's wings are very delicate, and are worried that if the wings get bent, then he won't be able to fly." "Oh, that's terrible," says Princess. "Oh, he's okay," said the leprechaun. "Hold on tight, kids and Granddad," said Leprechaun. They all held on tight to their leprechaun. Up in the air, they could see their house and the field. Then they could see the town and their school. They could see the plains of war in the sky, and the town people were screaming and running because of the war. "Oh, this is terrible," said Macalla, "all this war." "Take heart." The leprechaun said, "I want to show you something that will bring hope." It wasn't long until they were up in the clouds, and then they could see Earth itself, and they were on the edge of space. They saw a bright star in the distance, a silver, and a golden tunnel appeared before their eyes, and they slowly went inside this tunnel. There was every gemstone of every kind that you could imagine in this tunnel, and from a distance, the most beautiful melody and song was heard. It was so beautiful, the children never heard or saw anything as beautiful as this in their lives. There was a pleasant bright white light coming from this star and entering through the tunnel, but the light didn't blind them. But they could see right through the light without their eyes being hurt. Mark asks, "Where are we?" This place is so beautiful. Tigerfly talks while Leprechaun interprets. He said, "Some people call it heaven, others nirvana, while others paradise. In short, what you see in a distance is the place of eternal life and eternal love, those with good hearts. Most importantly, those who truly love from the heart, go there at the right time." "Can I stay there?" asked Princess. "Not yet. It's not your time, but I promise when it is, you will." "Look," said Joseph. "Yes, you have your favorite heroes that want to meet you," explained the Tigerfly. "They are the heroes with true love and bravery in their hearts that they made it to this special place. They want to meet you halfway between Earth and the place of eternal love and life by meeting you in this tunnel." There are many tunnels in the universe, which are shortcuts into different dimensions, and that's how we can travel, said Tigerfly. "Oh, look, Peter Pan is here," said Michael. "Oh, Aslan from Narnia," explained Mark. "By Nantina's favorite hero and mine, too." And Charlotte from Charlotte's Web smiled Princess. Charlotte sat on Princess's shoulder, and she kissed her. "It's Bambi's mum," said Macalla. "Oh, look over there. Dobby from Harry Potter says Joseph and shakes his hand." "The best one of all, Superman," says Prince. Tigerfly explains that few of them made it to that place. Many other countless numbers of souls have made it there too, but their favorites wanted to meet them. Some of them stay there, but others visited the beautiful place and went from world to help others too. This is what the tigerfly came for, because of the war, so that the tigerfly will bring peace to all humanity, and all will love again and live in unity. There are only 5 tigerflies in the entire universe, and they have eternal life. They go from world to bring love, peace, and unity. Tigerfly and the unicorns took them back to Earth in their fields. They are overexcited, and the kids kissed the tigerfly, unicorns, and leprechaun goodbye, and went back home for their dinner. On the way home, their grandmother Tina comes looking for them. "Oh, my crikey!" she screams, and starts running. When she bumps into the tigerfly, Michael calms his wife down. It's okay, although the tigerfly looks like a tiger with giant butterfly wings. It's good, and so is the leprechaun and unicorns. "Come and stroke it, Nan," says Makala. Tina slowly and nervously strokes the tigerfly, and then says, "Oh, he's lovely." All the children clap. Leprechaun asks them never to tell anyone what they have seen until the right time, so they all agreed. Day after day, while the war was causing havoc everywhere, Michael, Tina, and the children came to visit Tigerfly every day. Months passed. Summer turned into fall. August soon became November, and the children formed a firm friendship with the tigerfly. Now the leaves were falling. To be continued. Chapter 6. Peter takes Mark and Makala in his flying car in search of the tigerfly. It was now late November, nearly 4 months since they first met Tigerfly. The children all draw pictures of the tigerfly. It was Saturday morning, and the children invited their neighbors to come along with them. There was a boy called Stephen. He had a heart of gold and needed a bit more help than the average child, but he was a loner with a big imagination. All the children ran up to the fields, and Makala asked him, "Can you keep a secret?" "Oh yes," he said. They took him to Tigerfly, and with a big smile he went up and gave him a big hug. Tigerfly spoke like a dolphin. Stephen laughed. The leprechaun explained that Tigerfly was happy to make another new friend. You see, tigerflies adored the pure in heart, and that's why they, especially loved children, as they see all children as pure in heart. All children are basically good. It's just sometimes they may act badly because, unfortunately, some children have had no happiness or love in their lives. But the children the tigerfly has met obviously have had love in their lives. But Tigerfly still loved every child, no matter what. The children were looking at their portable TVs, which are TVs that they can take in their pockets to watch. All of a sudden, a live nature program came on. On the nature program, a tiger was hiding, wanting to kill a deer for its food. Suddenly, Tigerfly flapped its wings and started to fly. "Where's he going?" asked Stephen. The leprechaun replied. "He thinks he can stop the tiger from killing the deer." "Look," said Mark. Everyone crowded round Mark's portable TV. Tigerfly had shown his infrared light, and all the tiger's fly left the deer alone. The tigerfly provided fruit, and the tigers ate fruit from that moment onward. Prince asked the leprechaun, "Well, Tigerfly has converted all the creatures of the world not to eat each other, but only to eat fruit. But why can't he stop all this war?" Leprechaun replied, "It's a far bigger task, changing the human heart and mind, because mankind has been given the freedom of free will. But Tigerfly is here to try and show humanity a better way, to try and show them the way of love, and acceptance is a far better way than jealousy or hate and fear." "I think I get it," replied Prince. "We know that Tigerfly is doing what he thinks is the best," replied Princess. The next morning, they all met again when the children are going into the fields. Peter follows behind them and asks, "What are your children up to?" "We are off to see Tigerfly Daddy," replies Mark. "Oh, Mark, we weren't meant to tell anyone about the tigerfly until the time was right," moaned Makala. "Oh, for goodness sake, I'm fed up with all this talk about tigerfly," moaned Peter. "Come back with me right now." "Please, Daddy, please let us go deeper into the woods," cried Makala. Peter took the children back near the house immediately and said, "You are not to go into the woods ever again until you stop all this tigerfly talk." Makala and the other children cried, "Oh, please, Daddy, and if we can't do that, he will miss us." "Who will miss you?" asked Peter Michael, and Tina overheard all the commotions. Tina said, "Oh, son, this is a bit harsh on the children." Peter replied, "And you and your husband are not helping. You keep adding to their ridiculous fantasy by agreeing with them. I think it's best you and Michael find somewhere else to live." "Oh, please, no, no," cries Mark and Makala together. Rihanna overhears and is sad as Michael and Tina pack their bags to go and stay with Michael's daughter, the mother of Prince Joseph and Princess, instead hugging their grandkids goodbye. Michael says gently, "It's okay, we can still visit and stay with Prince Joseph and Princess, who you see every day already anyway." After they left, Peter firmly said, "Right, get in the car, children." "Is that necessary?" asked Rihanna. "Yes, it is, when I can prove them wrong," said Peter. The children got inside the flying car with their dad. Peter rode in the field everywhere, looking for mystical creatures, but they saw nothing. "There you go, we've everywhere but find nothing," said Peter. Then the car took off in the fields, and they started flying up in the clouds. "There you go. Nothing again," said Peter. Suddenly they got caught up in between the plains of war. "Oh my goodness, this is awful! Look at all the flattened houses in the towns," said Peter. "The airplanes suddenly started fighting. Hang on, kids," said Peter. Peter spent quite a while twisted and turning away from the planes and chasing away from the planes as fast as they could. Peter and the children were terrified, but he managed to get away from them and landed safely back at home. The children started crying. Peter held them close to him. "It's okay, I do love you too. We must be thankful for still being alive," Peter said. At this point, the war worried them. That Sunday evening, they watched movies on their 3D TV. Peter's job was doing well, but everyone was being called for war, and they didn't know how long they have left as a family. Monday morning was a gray day, when everything, including the weather, seemed so gray, time after time, worrying about the planes going over the school. Back in class at school, the teacher gets her class ready for a lesson. Suddenly, shooting sounds are heard, and although the men of war don't go inside the school to fight, because they know not to fight close to the school, because of the children, the shooting still can be seen from the next field. The school fire alarm sets, and all the children in the school run outside. The children are witnessing all the bombs and shootings. Suddenly, Makala runs into the field where all the shots are. Mark, Prince, and Joseph run after her. The teacher screams, "Come back, it's dangerous." The bullets were just about to shoot them, but suddenly, from nowhere, the tigerfly appears. He hits the bullets away with his wings, and then places himself right in the middle of all the commotion, using his infrared light. He melts the hearts of some of the soldiers. The infrared light penetrates love into people's heart and helps them back to their childlike state again, and those whose hearts are open it works on. But unfortunately, There are still those that it never works on, and they are those who refuse to live in love. But most of the soldiers stopped and returned home. The ones that won't change got scared of the creature because of its tiger-like body. These are men who live in fear and hate. Why, to them, the tigerfly seems fierce, and they are afraid of tigerfly. After the commotion stopped, the teacher and the children came over. Makala, smiling, said, "Don't be afraid, tigerflies, my friend, and I love him." At that, the teacher and all the children, except for the bully children, all come over and stroke the tigerfly. The teacher said, "You saved our lives. Thank you." The leprechaun appeared and said, "Tigerfly says it's the right time for your parents to know about me." So, the teacher phoned Peter and Rihanna up. They came straight away. Running to their parents, they say, "Daddy and Mummy, Tigerfly wants to meet you." Peter said, "Oh my goodness, you were right. Tigerfly exists." Rihanna stroked Tigerfly. Makala said, "Mum, Dad, Tigerfly saved our lives." Peter went up to Tigerfly and said, "I guess I owe you both an apology for not believing in you, and a thank you for saving my children's lives." Leprechaun said, "Tigerfly is saying, it's okay. I forgive you, and you are welcome that I saved the children's lives because I love them." Makala asked, "Daddy, can we get someone to heal Tigerfly's wing? He hurt his wing when protecting us." Peter replied, "Yes, that's the least we can do for him." Makala, hugging her dad, said, "Thank you." Tigerfly rode on their car roof, but when the family got home, Peter got a letter filled with terrible news. It told him he was going to have to leave his precious family and his good job to come to war. The war was getting worse and needed all the men they could find. It was an unfortunate evening. Peter was to leave his precious family in the morning. They just all cried their eyes out, all hugging each other. To be continued. Chapter 7. Makala's bullies have a confession, and there is an emotional journey to the place of eternal love. 1 week later, after the upset that all the children had of their dads going to war, and the school was closed down for a week, it was back to school. It was terrible times. Men were at war, leaving children and wives, and all those they loved behind. Buildings were being destroyed, and poor Tigerfly's wing was damaged, which left him useless in what he was supposed to do. Mark was a strong boy, but poor Makala, she missed her dad, and it broke her heart to be parted from him. Rihanna's heart was broken too, but she was being strong for the children. As Peter was at war, his children and wife never left his heart. Going to school was dreadful also. Poor little princess came crying over to Makala and Mark and said she was heartbroken that her daddy went to war too. Prince and Joseph also were very upset. They all had one group hug. Even the teacher was in tears. She was in a mess. She had to send her students home early. Her husband and son, who only turned just 18, were both sent to war. Because everyone had family members at war, fathers, husbands, sons, brothers, lovers, outside teachers, pupils, and parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, nieces, and nephews were invited to have a whole school pray circle for those they love. While holding hands in a big circle, they all prayed for those who were fighting to keep them safe. Michael and Tina were amongst the crowd, and Rihanna invited them back for dinner, and also Prince, Joseph, and Princess, and their parents called Catherine, and James came back. The children wanted to walk home. The planes were not overhead, so they were safe, or it seemed so, because as the 5 children walked home together, the 5 bully boys come behind them. The bully boys started to taunt the children. The lead bully boy, Darren, mocked. "I'm going to capture and kill your tigerfly. My dad's going to kill your tigerfly. And all the stupid leprechauns. I hate them." As the 5 bully boys chased the 5 children into the fields, they all started to circle the 5 children. Darren continued. "So, you think your tigerfly will protect you? Well, he can't now with his injured wing. Your dad was going to make sure tigerfly was healed, but he couldn't do anything about it as the next day. He had to go to war. Ha. Stand behind us, boys," said Mark to Michaela and Princess. But Prince, Joseph, and Mark was no match for Darren and his 4 brothers. Next, they all saw was a bright red light, and all the children looked around. It was Tigerfly, beaming his red light, red to represent love. Suddenly, Darren looked straight into the penetrating bright red light of love, and his brothers followed, and suddenly they put down their sticks, got down on their knees, and started to weep bitterly, all in turn saying, "I hate the way I am. I want to change. I'm so sorry for the way we were, and I beg for your forgiveness." Tigerfly, so it seemed manageable to penetrate their hearts with his red light of love. Mark and the other 4 walked over cautiously to the 5 bullies. Mark asked, "Why should we forgive you?" "Exactly," said Joseph. "You were going to beat the little girls up in our family." "You are cowards. I hate cowards," said Prince. The leprechaun showed up and said, "You should forgive, because that's what Tigerfly would want. And if we all learn to forgive and forget and love, there would be no more wars." Princess replied, "Leprechaun is right. We must live in love." "That's right. Love is essential," said Michaela. "At least hear them out," requested the leprechaun. "Very well, but it better be good," replied Mark. Darren replied, "When I was little, I had both a mum and dad. We were such a happy family. And because my mum can't have any more children, my parents adopted my 4 brothers, who were orphans from birth. I loved my real dad very much. So did my brothers. He was the only father that they knew. But one day, my dad went to work, and as he was building, he fell from the building. My mum and us 5 children were left heartbroken. My mum was hard up for money after a couple of years. When my dad's hard-earned money finished, she met my stepdad. She never really loved him, but married him out of desperation to be able to feed us. But my stepdad turned out evil. Despite him having love from his parents as a child, my stepdad started hitting my mum. We tried to protect our mum, but now he's turned on us, calling us over. Emotional. He hits us black and blue. We are not allowed to express any emotion. If we do, we will be hit. That's why we turned into bullies, because this way, we can take out our feelings without making our stepdad cross. We all want to be good, but our stepdad won't let us be." Michael's grandchildren kindly got very emotional over the bully's sad story. They all shook hands and made friends, and decided to forgive and forget, and leave the past in the past. The leprechaun was very touched by Darren's story and invited him and his brothers for a trip into space. They all agreed. Mark asked, "Can we come and see Aslan again?" "Please," asked the little girls. "Not this time," said Leprechaun. "You already had your turn first, and you are lucky. Both parents love you, so these 5 boys need some goodness." "Oh," said Mark, Joseph, Prince, and the little girls together. But deep down, they understood the reason. So 2 strong unicorns took Leprechaun, Darren, and 1 brother on him, and the other unicorn took the other 3 brothers. Up, up, and up again above the clouds, and into the beautiful tunnel again. Leprechaun said again, "Over there where the star shines, bright is the land of everlasting love and life and joy. We have a few of your childhood heroes to visit you." "I love the snowman and E.T. My real dad used to read me those stories every night," replied Darren. And suddenly, The snowman and E.T. came to visit the boys. "Wow, are you for real?" asked Darren. They smiled at him, saying, "Oh yes, now someone whom you love even greater is coming to meet you halfway between the land of love and earth, coming towards them very slowly, a tall male-like figure, and walking towards them with dark hair. He looks like an adult version of Mark." "Daddy," Darren cried with tears of joy. Father and son hugged each other close. "Oh, my darling boy, you have grown. I love you and think about your mum and all you boys all the time." "We miss you too, Daddy. Let me come with you, please," Darren begged. "Son, it's not your time, and your mum and brothers need you, but now, you know we will never be apart. I'm here right in your heart," said his dad. "Live in love, and all will be well." "Dad, I'm being bullied by my stepdad. I need you to come back." "I can't, son," he said, "but I promise you, you will soon be free." His dad smiled at him, then disappeared. "Come back, Dad," said Darren. "Don't worry, kid. He's with you all the time," said the leprechaun. They all came back to Earth. Darren felt a lot happier after meeting his dad, knowing that in his heart they are together, and that one day they will be together forever. The 5 brothers landed back down with the other children. The leprechaun disappeared, and they all played together nicely. But at nighttime, when everyone had gone to bed, poor McCullough started crying over her dad. She looked out of her bedroom window and felt sad in seeing that Tigerfly was looking sad to have his wing broken. As she started to cry, an angel visited her and touched her heart, saying, "Peace, child, and all will turn out fine in the end." The angel took her in her golden wings while hugging her, saying, "Sleep, child, sleep." The angel soothed her into going to sleep. To be continued, Chapter 8. Darren and McCullough's friendship blossom, but Tigerfly goes missing. After the rain, as the days went on, it got colder. Poor Tigerfly was getting cold, so the family made a home for him from their shed, with central heating, hay, and blankets to keep him warm. They also fed him fruit because he's a vegetarian. Darren and his brothers visited Michaela and Co. every day, and Michael and Tina and Rihanna were pleased that Darren had changed. Deep down, he was a lovely boy. Now that his stepdad was at war, Darren had no fear anymore. Darren was a big lad, slim but muscly and tall with dark hair. He was also very healthy and had a black belt in most of the martial arts. His brothers knew karate, and all had black belts too, but for some reason, Darren's stepdad had pressurized Darren every day for hours on end to get him to fight. Mark was a bit jealous of Michaela and Darren's building friendship at first, as Mark was always Michaela's best friend and very close. But it seemed that she was making a new friend. But as the weeks went by, he accepted it more. Once Darren and Michaela were feeding Tigerfly, he looked into her eyes, then winked at her, saying, "You're a pretty young girl, so beautiful blue eyes and shimmering brown hair, like your Nan Tina was." Michaela, blushing, giggled. Darren gently stroked her chin affectionately, saying, "Don't be nervous, sweet girl." Michaela and Mark had their 13th birthday late November. Darren had his 14th birthday 2 weeks after they had theirs, and because of all the problems poor Darren he had at home, he was in the class a year behind him. So they were in the same class, even though he was a year older. Anyway, it was Christmas Eve now. Peter, Mark, and Michaela's father arrived home, and so did Prince. Joseph and Princess's dad arrived at home. So they all spent the time with their own family. However, Peter invited Darren, his brother, and Mum over for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day. Michael and Tina came over for Christmas Day, but the other 2 Christmas days they spent with Prince Joseph and Princess and family. Peter was seen from a distance. "Daddy," cried Michaela. Running into his arms gave him the biggest hug ever. Mark and Rihanna ran over and hugged him too. Darren's stepdad to Darren's and his mum and brother's delight had to stay on at war. Peter said to Darren, "Nice to meet you, son. Michaela wrote to me in her letters telling me all about you." Darren replied, "Nice to meet you too, sir. No one since my real dad died had ever called me son before." Peter smiled and said, "Call me Peter, and you're always welcome here." During Christmas Eve, Peter's family and Darren's mum all sang carols together. Peter got a vet and had tigerflies winged healed. On Christmas Day, Michael and Tina came over, and they had a big turkey for lunch. But for tigerfly, Michaela and Tina had nutrias because they are vegetarian, and they all loved it. Peter bought the children a flying scooter each that could fly as high as overhouses. Peter had some very good news to announce. He didn't have to go back to war because he was in a very successful business, and once the war was over, he can go back to it. Rihanna, Mark, and Michaela hugged him with tears of gladness. The two families' friendship got close as they spent the time into the Boxing Day. And Tigerfly's wing was healed. So he went and used his red light of love on more and more men at war's heart, helping them find their inner child. And many men stop fighting when Tigerfly's red light helps them to open their hearts and give them understanding of what made them do this, but how they can change to see another way and others' point of view. Most men from all sides didn't want to fight, so they stopped, and the next 3 months went really well. The good men stopped fighting, thanks to the tigerfly. Peter started to teach Darren all about his business as Darren took an interest. Winter turned into spring. It was April time, and Rihanna had got big with her pregnancy. Michael, Michaela, Mark, Darren, his brothers, Tigerfly, Princess, Prince, and Joseph, and Stephen. All of the school children went playing in the fields, singing and laughing, playing amongst the trolls, leprechauns. The fairies' unicorns they watched on the compatible TV war was almost over. Most men were turning good. The children all cheered with gladness. Tigerfly went back to his shed to collect something. When all the children came back, Tigerfly was nowhere to be found. "Tigerfly, Tigerfly, where are you?" cried Michaela, her eyes streaming with tears. She read the note out. "I have captured Tigerfly. He's a threat to us men with no emotion, whose hearts are stubborn and will not change from Sid, Darren's stepfather." "I'm going to kill him," said Darren. "I'm not afraid of him no more." Both Mark and Darren went over to comfort Michaela. All the girls especially cried. "I'm going to free Tigerfly. He's my best friend ever," cried Michaela. "I'm coming with you," said Mark. "I'm coming too," said Darren. Michael and Peter ran out and overheard. Peter said, "I know I'm risking my business by doing this because I had to be at work every day, especially tomorrow. But I know how much this creature means to you. I'm joining you too." "Oh, thank you, Daddy," said Michaela. Michaela, Mark, Peter, Michael, Darren, and his brothers went their ways to look for Tigerfly, while Prince, Joseph, Rihanna, and Tina stayed behind in case of any news about him from home. They ride for miles over mountains across the lakes, where they see mermaids. "Go that way," says the mermaids, pointing south. So they ride south, and on getting there, the trees point them in the right direction. Suddenly, Michaela, recognizing the sweet red light from a distance, says, "He's over there." They go into this cave. They all hide, saying, "Look, he's over there." "Okay, we will all go together and free him," says Michael. "Be careful, all say, Peter." Running up to Tigerfly, Michaela says, "I'm so glad you are safe." Suddenly, they were spotted. "What do you think you are doing, little girl?" scoffed Sid. "I'm freeing Tigerfly. He's coming home with us," she replied. "Oh, no, you're not," he said as he went forward to hurt her. Peter went forward saying, "Get your hands off her." But Sid knocked him out the way. Michael then went forward, but he knocked him out of the way quickly too. Then the four brothers all tried to gang up on him, but was no match for Sid and his four mates. Then Darren stood up, saying, "I'm not afraid of you or any adult no more. All you can do is hurt young children and ladies. You're a sad coward. Don't you dare hurt a hair on McCall's head." "Oh, how sweet standing up for your girlfriend," mocked Sid. "Okay, how about it? Just you and I fight then." "You're on Kid," mocked Sid. They fought for hours, but it was even. But Darren was made very powerful by what Sid had taught him, but it went on for hours, and they were both getting tired. To be continued. Chapter 9. Earth is restored to paradise. Being scared hid away, without realizing that he had reflected Tigerfly's wings to the attention of the Tigerfly's four brothers. "Look up," cheered Michaela. The four Tigerflies flew down and roared at Sid and mates. They were terrified. As they ran away, the ETs gathered them up in their spaceships. The Tigerflies flew around the world, gathered up all the men and women up with stubborn, evil hearts. Michael and team flew back home on their flying scooters. All over the world, people were cheering and singing songs of love and peace of every race, color, and religion. People were coming together in love, no more prejudice or misunderstanding, and had one race and religion called love. By the grace of love, not one man was lost during the war. They arrived home with a big cheer from all the families and schools. Tigerflies have restored peace and harmony, and Mark was a hero for attracting Tigerfly's attention. Tigerfly spoke human language. "You speaking properly," said McCalla. "Yes, child, I am." "McCalla, I have something I need to tell you," said Tigerfly. He continued saying, "The men who refuse to change are going to a world where they are being taught to change, but still never do. The universe, in the beginning, was meant to live in love, but fear made some jealous and evil. This world has been restored, but there are other worlds in the universe I have to help now." "You're not leaving, please no. You're the best friend I ever had," cried McCalla. "Child, I must help restore the universe, but remember, we can never be apart when we love from the heart." "Will I ever see you again?" asked McCalla. "No, child. I'm sorry, but I'm here in your heart, and you have your family, your brother Mark, your soulmate. Darren will always be in your life." My soulmate asked McCalla. "Yes, I think that boy likes you," said Tigerfly. "I love you so much," said McCalla. "I love you too and always, Tigerfly." The Tigerflies flew away, and all the other fantasy creatures too went through the tunnel back to their home, and the children cried, running into their parents' arms. Suddenly a big rainbow appears. "Come kids, let's play in the forest," says Michael. The children reach the end of the rainbow. "That's it," said McCalla. At the end of the rainbow is something far more than gold. It's true love that's at the end. A month later, Rihanna gives birth to twins after thinking it was a boy and calls the tiger Lily and Tiger Boy. The school has an evening celebration. McCalla recites her poem of Tigerfly and shows her drawings the whole class, and teacher now cheers her. Darren comes to her and gives her a huge kiss. As the night comes, there's a red light in the sky. Tigerfly left his magic spark. Bridget, Darren's mum, and the teacher Gareth hit it off that evening. 5 years later. "Are you seeing your boyfriend, McCalla, or is he at work with Daddy at his newly made theme park?" giggled Tiger Boy and Tiger Lily. "Yes, I am," Macalla replied. Darren comes out of his house. Gareth, his now stepfather, says, "Good luck, son." Darren replies, "Thank you, Daddy. You've been the best husband and stepdad we ever had. You made me and my mum and brothers so happy. I'm going to make my Macalla happy now." "You're the son I never had," replied Gareth. They hugged, and then Darren ran to Macalla. They go up to the bridge where they met Tigerfly years ago. "You know I love you very much," said Darren. "Yes," said Macalla. "I love you very much too. Will you marry me?" he continued. "Oh, yes, yes," replied Macalla. So there it is. The future was good. Macalla became a poet. Darren worked with Peter, and Gareth paid for him to have extra studies, so he soon caught up. Now, Darren had two good fathers, Peter and Gareth. Darren and Macalla got married and have many children and live happily ever after. Princes married Stephen, and the rest married college girls. Thanks to Peter, all the children succeed, as he said he had nothing but did well and encouraged his children to do well, and sure, they did. So Peter, Rihanna built a house, then Michael and Tina built a house next to them, then did Darren and Macalla, then did Mark and Myrtle, then did everyone else, and the whole world lived happily ever after. Somewhere out there, Tigerfly is restoring another world.